last time.
No, thought that was Doc that did last time.
Maybe. Um. Okay, let's see here. Okay, you're just gonna get my notes, so I don't expect to get any points for this. The Ultra Beast slash fused individuals spend their time in a void. It's basically an even more chaotic mystery dungeon. Our best shot at beating Fluffwall is to fight him in our world as opposed to that world. Necrozma is ironically weak to light. He wants to find the Prism Crystal to regain his full power. Are you sure you want me to continue? This is really bad.
uh, Content? Okay. I'll, I'll start doing the recap.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, last time, after beating Lightning, these guys captured her, tied her up, and prepared to interrogate her. The Hoopas the Neoligo around them were just sort of passively floating there for no reason. Uh, the interrogation went about as well as can be imagined, considering Lightning's very prideful, so they decided, you know what, let's see exactly what happens if we drag you guys out there and leave you there for a while, and Lightning tried calling their bluff, and she got chucked outside. Afterwards, they spoke with Alan for a bit. Alan, told them a few of the things that Quill mentioned in his recap, and also told them that in order to recreate the Prism Crystal, since the one Fluffle's looking for is potentially lost, they need both his part of they need both his Crystal and Renial's to be combined together somehow. He's not entirely certain how, but he gave his half of the crystal to Renial in order for both of them to be forged into a new Prism Crystal. Eugene also lied to him and told him that they're going to search for the Aether Rock under the sea, likely to keep Fluffle out of their hair. Afterwards, they returned back into the real world, or, well, outside of the mystery dungeon. Rainiel had a heart-to-heart with Aurora. They chatted with some of the NPCs who were starting a refugee camp there, and they managed to finally get Lightning to stop being so defiant moments before what could have possibly been her death, and she was like, fine, whatever, I'm not going to fight you again, but I'm also not too terribly interested in actively helping you either. I just don't want Fluffle to kill me because she, like a lot of them, just wants to go home. She also revealed that a couple of armies are coming over to assess the situation, and Fluffle intended on using this to light the flame and start the war, so the party is now preparing in anticipation for when the armies will come here. I'm not the best at recaps either, but there you are.
All right, so you get a d6 of anti-luck.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
If I get the full 6 here, I'm gonna laugh so hard. Okay. Alright, so Sergey, you were helping get the tent set up, helping the refugees sort out, giving some healing, and I'm sure somebody in the party eventually recapped everything that was happening now that they're in their sandcastle abode place that they were previously using to hold lightning.
Red Hill's Sandy Castle.
Yes,
Yeah.
Radial Sandy Castle.
Yeah, if I heard about this.
So you can consider yourself caught up on most of what the party said, unless you want to actively have them talk with you about everything that happened yet last time.
Right. I don't think we need to do that.
All right. So yeah, after lightning was let out and let back, you all got what little rest you could, and morning soon came among the horizon. What do you want to do? Aside from just wake up.
Yeah. I guess we're practically just waiting on these figureheads to come here. So I guess it would just be helping, tending to everyone. I guess who was injured. That's
Okay.
what I'd be doing anyway.
Reniel's probably just minding his own business.
Reniel apparently has no inclination of actually helping.
Not really, no.
So
Alright. Everyone else? Sergey, Harold?
I'll be helping out where I can. In the meanwhile, in the back of my head, trying to figure out how we're going to handle this situation.
And I'll just keep doing what I've been doing previously. So continuing to help.
Okay. Alright, so all of you except for the Espeon Loaf go around helping out. It seems most injuries have been recovered overnight, so the wounded have been tended on, but most everyone's just sort of waiting around for when the Freelance Guild is coming back with Andre to try and figure out what their next step is. Morale in general is low-ish among the people, but they're at least happy that they all survived. But time passes, and soon enough you hear footsteps approaching, and if you looked from the north and south side, you see large processions of Pokémon. From the north, you see Estesis spearheading the charge. And from the south, from the south you see Estesis spearheading the charge. From the north, you see a Sceptile spearheading the charge. You also see Raven and Thornton are both coming from the north as well.
with the Sceptile.
Yeah, with the Sceptile. And among the crew of the north, there's also a Clefable, a Semisage, and a Flygon. And from the south, you see, along with Estesis, you see an Ursaring, a Servine, and 2 Typhlosion.
Uh-ohs.
And that's not including a bunch of what looks to be possibly a combination of guild members or foot soldiers. You're not entirely sure, but it seems to be that they've each brought small crews to either assess damage or, if needed, potentially begin a fight. As they all begin approaching, both sides sort of look to each other before they look to the town, which still seems to be shrouded in that hazy barrier that signifies a mystery dungeon. Estesis eventually steps forward, as does the Septile. And Estesis speaks first and says, "What happened here?" From her commanding presence, most people seem to be sort of silent and slightly shocked as they notice like two armies, small armies, but two armies sort of back to back.
Well, how do I explain this? What do you know about the recent whereabouts of Ampharos Fluffwool?
Harold, give me an insight check.
Let's make sure it actually goes through.
Yeah, assuming the dice decide to let you. Ouch!
Rip.
Okay, no, Ostessa seems cold-faced as always, and she looks sort of towards the north at the other group, and she says, "He's been evasive from what the Freelance Guild has told us, but what we currently know is that he seems to be working with a Caldwell terrorist group known as CILS."
Technically true to an extent. Harold looks around to all of the Pokemon assembled. I don't know if you're going to believe anything I'm about to tell you. But the situation is dire enough that I think it has to come out. Fluffwell, as we know him, as far as I'm aware, no longer exists. He has been subsumed by something else. Something that wants nothing more than for this land to erupt in war. What happened here was his attempt to make that happen. The hope was to completely wipe out this city, have both of you show up, each of you blame the other, and throw this continent into chaos.
Estesis silent for a moment. She seems to be calculating, and she says, "So, you're saying CILS wish to start a war?" When the Septile pipes up and says, that checks out. I was minding my own business. For those of you who don't know, I'm mayor of White Town, and I happened to get a note in my office that suggested a false flag operation was to be happening here. An attempt to start a war. Though I was told a group called the Purge was attempting to start it. Estes is silent for a moment, but she eventually says, "We've heard of such an organization, but they're they are not currently they would not start a war of this nature. CILS would be the ones who would attempt to start a war here."
Look, we can point fingers at that doesn't matter right now. The point is, we've all seen the conflicts. Our team has been back and forth between Arian and Caldwelch enough that we've seen the tensions rising. The mere idea that somebody would want to start the conflict, combined with something like this, would be enough to set it off.
Does anybody have anything to add on this point? Don't want to just leave Harold as the only talker.
Yeah.
Renniel's trying to think of something to say, but words aren't coming.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me. I know I like feel like Phoenix right now with like the evidence that to the contrary of what she said in my possession, but I don't really think I have anything to add at the moment.
Yeah, most of what Renniel would say is just snarky comments to Estesis, but that would probably cause a war than prevent one.
Yeah, that's kind of my mindset too. I probably want to handle this a little more delicately than.
Yeah, Renniel's not really the kind of guy you want handling this situation.
Okay.
I guess if
I
there's one thing for him to say, he would say something to the effect of, "Needless to say, if a war is started, everyone will lose."
You can ask the members of Dawnsbury of what transpired here.
Cyrus, at that prompting, Cyrus steps up and he says, "It, I don't know, like, I ain't the biggest fan of Cal Walter, wasn't before, but let me tell you, those creatures there, they didn't care nothing about Cal Welch, Aaron, none of us. They wanted Dawnsbury entirely dead. And you guys eventually see Raven step forward. He sort of intermingles with you guys and he says, "Actually, I've been, these guys have been on a special mission from me researching this sort of stuff as well. And you guys probably have some proof as well, don't you?" And he's looking at you kind of praying dash hoping you guys have some sort of proof or something to help with the situation.
I can at least validate that the Ultra Beasts are unaffiliated with either party.
Hang on. And I guess at this point, Renniel's just going to put on display that he has an Ultra Beast inside of him.
Okay, so you're gonna summon Neil Go just right out here?
Uh, yeah, he's gonna do the whole thing where the tentacles come out of his whiskers,
Oh,
and he's going to say,
Ultra Beasts are taking control of other Pokemon in order to survive in our world. Their plan is to create is to turn all of Lanwell into a mystery dungeon so that they may survive here since they have lost their own home.
sorry, my brain's starting up still.
Should okay.
And the only way for them to do that is to throw all of Lanwell into war so that they can
My brain completely stopped. Sorry.
Renewal is capable of becoming nervous, I see.
No, Quill is just it's been 3 weeks for Quill, and Quill is just has forgotten everything because he's
2
old.
weeks, technically.
See, I'm just that bad at math.
3 weeks from me.
I'm gonna drop the acting and just explain to you what Raniel's saying. He's trying to get across the point to them that the Ultra Beasts are trying to turn Lanwell into a mystery dungeon, and in order to do that, they need Lanwell to be at war so that everyone will die and the Burden Tree will be destroyed. And this will in turn create that dungeon for them to live in.
Okay. Upon saying that, Estessa says, the Burden Tree. You actually believe that old fairy tale?
You do
Those-
not.
Whether it's real or not is irrelevant. The Ultra Beasts believe it is, and they're willing to kill all of us in order to make it appear. Whether that happens or whether it actually shows up or not, we all lose.
Point is, Raven says, as you guys could see here, this whole offensive thing, it wasn't a CILS or a purge or anything like that. It's a third party that was doing this action. They're looking for destruction. And Cyrus also says, like I said, they if it was CILS, like we had an incident with CILS before. They try to steal from our town. They try to take what they could to bring it back to their bosses, and we know for fact CLS never really targeted the Caldwell citizens living in here. It was only the Aaron citizens. So if those guys were with CILS, then, well, the Caldwell guys here would be sitting pretty. But you could ask any of them. They were being attacked and were about to be injured just as much as the Aarons. And I don't know nothing about no purge, but I think it's the same with them.
I don't think we should be talking about the Ultra Beasts. I don't think that's the problem right now we need to be discussing. I do think the problems are CILS and the Purge.
You see a lot of. Give me an insight check, Eugene.
All right. What's my
Also,
insight?
Quill, can you turn down your mic a little? We can hear you breathing in it.
I'm sorry. Better?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
17.
Okay, so when you say that, you see like a bunch of people. That's not what I mean, dog. You could see a bunch of surprised reaction, which tells you that most of the people, a lot of the people here are probably CILS or Purge, or at
Yeah.
least related to them. But anyways, continue.
And I ask you, leaders, you Estesis, and what's this? I don't know the subtitles name. The mayor of White Town.
He
Is
didn't
how
give
I'll-
you his name.
What do you know about the Purge and CILS, respectively?
You get silence from the group, from everyone, basically, and Estessa says, We know that CILS are Lanwell terrorists who.
No. I asked about the purge from you.
Eugene, you see the two Typhlosion there both seem to be giving you disapproving glances. They haven't said anything, but they're both looking at you disapprovingly. Do you respond? Do you respond? Sorry.
I simply just, stand firm with my questioning.
Okay. Estes says, we know that the Purge oppose CILS on the grounds that they do not wish for this group of terrorists to throw Lanwell back into war again.
So you support them then?
It is not a case of support or lack of support, more just me speaking of what I know of them. It is more the Freelance Guild's job to focus more on the criminals in this world.
Well, if they're terrorists, then they have a cause. And if hypothetical here, if you were the leader of the purge, what would be needed to perhaps broker peace with the other side?
Eugene hears in his head, "You are being rather bold."
Yeah, I just feel like if I don't take this chance right now, we'll never have it again.
Estesis, she takes a moment. It's clear you're catching her off guard, and she is doing her best to think through her responses, and she says, I would not be able to specifically gather. I would not be able to specifically guess as to what they would want entirely.
Well, it's really easy. It's just they're extremists. So just think of your views, just make them extreme. And that's what they want.
Starkey Eugene is amusing. uh,
But you seem to be concerned about terrorists. You see, the Purge themselves are terrorists. They have a plan to completely sap other Pokemon of their powers. You would not happen to know anything about that, would you?
I would
Yeah.
not know. That's. I am aware of what happened in Ledrith recently, but I was not aware of that being involved with any sort of group. And you don't need to make a deception check to tell that she is stone-faced, but she is BSing that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is truly a horrible act. After all, my mother fell victim and she was a Sylveon. Can you imagine that? A Sylveon not being able to feel the emotions of her loved ones? Truly a reprehensible act. And the Purge wish for this to be enacted on all Pokemon, except for themselves, of course. Isn't that terrible, Estesis? Isn't that reprehensible?
In my
Should not
mind,
actions be taken against this?
I tell Reniel, okay, good. Now switch over to the CILS guy so we can give her a moment to think she's in the clear.
That's actually what I was just about to do.
Yeah.
Go for it, Harold.
Of course, that's not to say that the CLALS is in any way innocent in this. I'm going to use Minor Illusion and conjure an image of one of the red crystals. Everything revolves around these. Purge have modified them to sap Pokemon of their powers, and the CILS use them to control what we all commonly refer to as ferals. Create an army of them, bring them outside of dungeons, use them to enforce their will upon others.
We have various witnesses outside of our group who have seen this, including the mayor over there's daughter, the leader of the Tronfenel Islands.
The subtitle says, I see. I was not aware of such happenings, nor was I aware Tronfenel Islands was involved. They've been cut off for so long. It might be difficult to get them to corroborate your story.
Well, we were given permission by them to go to their island. I'm sure sending out a message of some sort would be just as easy to corroborate our story.
Raven nods and says, yeah, basically. Thanks to these guys' help, they've been slowly opening up. I'm sure if we send messengers to there, they'll be coming back lickety split with all the information y'all need. So it could be corroborated pretty dang easy. The subtitle pauses for a moment and says, I see. That will be very helpful to fully understand their activities. Sure, especially for you in the Freelance Guild. But I would say what the Purge is doing is quite worse. They're planning on stealing our identity, aren't they?
Enough! This finger pointing, this blaming, this shifting responsibility, this is the problem right here. Don't you guys see that we're tearing ourselves apart? Creating the very system that the Ultra Beasts want. This tribalism, this me versus you, it has to stop, or we're all dead. Can we please focus on what we have in common, on what we've overcome, what we've built together, instead of constantly being at each other's throats?
You once again get silence as everyone sort of looks over at you guys, and Raven says, I mean, ain't that what the Freelance Guild was for in the first place? To bring together everyone from all the groups under a united cause. And look what these guys have done. Aaron, Ledrith, and Caldwell all working together to fight this thing. Give me an insight check.
Harold?
Everyone.
That's a little bit better.
Double 22.
Alright, I guess Raniel's about as brain booting as Quill is right now.
Hey, he got an average roll. I'm rolling at best a 3 on my own brain right now.
Okay then. But everyone else, well, from Raven, you notice that he sees this as a interesting opportunity for himself. But for everyone else, it's clear they're trying to come up with some forms of arguments, but they're clearly on the back foot right now. And you can see amongst the crowd that, at least among Donsbury and even among some of the soldiers they brought, they seem to be hanging on your words quite a bit. Estes takes a breath and she says, I see. Very well. I suppose at this point we are going into too much blaming and arguing, and none of it productive. I suppose for now we have these refugees to think about, where they will go next and what they will do, so that should be our major focus for now, if you all can agree with that. And the Septile says, yes, I think for now that's for the best.
No, we're not going to do that. No, we're going to talk this out. Because this moment, I feel, is never going to come again when you two are in the theoretical same room.
Belsajar, we have reached a resolution. What more needs to be said?
What if I told you the figureheads of these terrorist organizations were among us right now?
You see both the Septile and Estes sort of stand there silently for a moment before Estes says, that's certainly a possibility.
Oh no, I have proof. Not a
Okay,
possibility.
okay, Eugene, roll insight. Or actually, don't roll insight. You could tell for a moment that both Estes and the Septile, their masks sort of chink for a moment to reveal a bit of worry before they put it back on and sort of remain focused for a moment. And they both at the same time say, proof?
Yes. Proof of involvement in both CILS and the Purge.
That won't be strictly Nessa, though Raven cuts her off and says, alright, show it.
This is like when you're playing a Phoenix Wright game. It's like, and then you save the game because the consequences of what might happen.
There ain't no
Save
saving
scum,
here.
save scum.
um, the museum curator in Whitetown is a member. And they have a base or hideout in the sewer.
Thanks. Thanks, Ice.
Yep.
The subtitle says a hideout in the sewer. Are you certain? The sewers are White Town. We have many in White Town that goes down there and maintain it. I'm sure if there was a base or something down in the sewers, then I would have been told about it.
It's right under the museum.
I suppose
We were down there. One of the members, Kieran, who's a Cinderace celebrity. Is he among here?
You don't see him among this group. He may be part of the army crowds, but you can't really, at least unless you're actively looking for him, you can't really tell at a glance if he's here or not.
We snuck down there and I listened into their conversation, and they seemed to think we were part of the purge because we thwarted their plans a few times. But he's not the only one, don't get me wrong. Shall I go on to what I know about the purge as I look over to the other side?
That won't be necessary.
Oh,
Estes
isn't it?
answers.
Really?
There is much that clearly needs to be investigated already. You may drop that information off at a later point in time to the Freelance Guild.
Oh no, I'm gonna bear it all here, so everyone can see it. Everyone.
Well, Raven tells you, go ahead, continue.
Well, I will drop it at a later time if these two sides are willing to negotiate. Put a stop to these two terrorist organizations. And look at what I just told you as kind of an appetizer. I have something more damning and incriminating for the purge on my person.
Estessa stands there for a moment and says, it may be hard for the CILS and Purge to speak, but we can at least broker peace between all those among here at this point in time in order to prevent more coming conflicts.
Yeah. That sounds good.
She takes a breath and looks to the subtile, says, Mayor Bryn, if you would come with me, and various members of the Freelance Guild, let us begin talks and hope that our talks are able to leak down to CLS and the Purge. The subtile says, I can agree with that. And the two of them begin walking together. You see various members of the Freelance Guild, Thornton and Calgood are both going there. Raven pats you guys on the shoulder and says, "Well, hot dang. I'm gonna keep an
Be-
eye on them, make sure they're true to their word, if you don't mind me."
Before the leaders completely leave, Renniel's going to say,
One more thing.
and he's going to say,
To the Purge's leader, whomever it may be,
and he's going to lock eyes with Estesis, and he says,
tell your head of research and development to sleep with his eyes open. There will be a reckoning with what has been done, unless a cure can be found.
You know, just for flavor, roll intimidation.
all right. Where's the? Oh, it's a +8 now. Okay.
Radial is reveling in his intimidating. Oh
Nat
my
20.
gosh! Oh my gosh!
And he's a sorcerer, so he just gets that insane bonus as well.
Yeah, no, this is a very, very credible threat.
Is Shad here?
Sort of like the Cinderace. If he is, he's part of the large crowd, and you wouldn't be able to tell if unless you're actively searching for him.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna look for him while Reniel's doing that after he said that.
Oh, okay. Roll perception.
All right. All right. I'm on the inventory. I always forget my perception. I think it's +9.
If you get another nat 20,
13.
yeah, no, you can't. You can't differentiate him from the crowd.
Okay.
But Estesis says, I imagine that will trickle down at some point in time or another if the leader of the purge is indeed here. And Reniel, you get the slight hint that you actually managed to frighten her.
Fantastic.
I trust that it will.
And you see both of them tell their various soldiers and stuff to begin helping with situating everyone and help sort of everyone find new homes in other towns. So you see them walking around the various towns Pokemon, speaking with them, and it seems like you were successful.
Mm.
After a moment, you see Andre Pierce and Isabel approach you and go, "Wow, what was that?" Pierce asks.
What was what?
All that? That was kind of amazing. I, I couldn't speak at all. There are just so many of them, and they all look so intimidating.
I guess I mean, it's so important, right? I mean, we've been looking into this for so long, and it was our one chance to, Well, stop this stupid war. I didn't really have a choice now, did I?
I suppose. Avery, or Andre says, you guys did real good. But to think there's a base under the museum. Man. And I constantly give stuff to the museum too.
Yeah, I know. We kind of need it. That thing you gave to them.
What thing? Which thing?
The branch.
Oh, that branch? What do you need the branch for?
Well, we were talking about that tree, and apparently that thing can find it.
Oh, well, I suppose it can.
It's either that or we track down that Litten and get it from her.
Well, suppose there goes the money from that, but alright. If you really need it, I could try and ask, well, then again, the museum's creator is apparently not a good person.
Well, it is in his own interests for us to have it.
I suppose I can ask. I'll have to, talk with you all later about that. I'll be heading. White Town's my home, so I'll be heading back there anyway, so I'll be sure to tell you guys what if I find it, or not find it, if they could give it back to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say not a good person, and maybe just someone who was led astray.
Isabel says, so, what are you guys gonna be doing next then? We're probably gonna be helping move most of these guys either to Red Town, to Steelport, or to Foothills down south. You gonna come along and help, or?
I did we still want to check out what's going up at the Camp Nightwell, I think it was, or Fort
Fortnite,
Nightwell.
well.
That's what we were doing just here.
Yeah. We were gonna do that before all this happened.
At this point, I think that little plan is turned into all of this.
Well, I only say that because it's another lead to the Ultra Beast, right? Apparently there's Nihilego in there.
We can check, but my assumption is that this dungeon that just popped up here is that one expanding. Still, maybe it wouldn't hurt to check.
It's not that far away, right?
No, it's not far away at all.
Okay. I guess that's what we're gonna go and check out.
Okay. Alright, so you all leave this army to do their thing and start helping out with everything that's happening, and you begin making your way up to the fort. As
Did
you
Aurora just go with the rest of the Freelance Guild?
yeah, she was one of the members who sort of went in to make sure that that discussions are going to go well. Well, that was a noise. So yeah, she joined in with all that stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, you make your way over to the fort, and as before, it sort of has that hazy field around it, suggesting that it's a mystery dungeon.
Is the hazy field continuous with the one around Dawnsbury?
No, actually, it seems to be its own separate thing.
Oh, we sort of had a plan going into this place, didn't we?
Yeah, that fell apart utterly and completely.
Well, apparently we could just leave if we go inside, so. And you had like a code word or something if you forgot what transpired.
Do we still have those fail
like
safes in place?
To the extent we ever had them to begin with.
Well, I say we just go inside and see what's going on in there. I'm kind of curious, really.
Yeah, I suppose we should.
All right, then we go inside the familiar-looking fort.
Okay. You walk into the fort, feel the usual vroom of going inside a mystery dungeon. And yeah, the fort looks, for the most part, it looks normal, only cleared out of everything that was inside of it. You see behind you a shimmering portal that will pretty much automatically allow you guys to go outside, so that part of their story seems to check out. And the fort, for the most part, seems eerily empty.
Can we check some of the rooms?
Oh, do you?
Yeah. If I correct, it was like a very large courtyard, and there was just like some barracks and storage rooms.
Yeah, there was.
So it's a big place. Just there's not very many rooms in it, though.
Mm-hmm. There was about four. There was about 4 rooms.
Yeah. Let's just kind of go through all of them then.
All right. So you walk through, or flavor-wise, are you going clockwise, counterclockwise, or any specific way?
Let's say clockwise.
Yeah, clockwise sticking together.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the important part, is that we're not splitting up.
All right. So you go through the first couple of rooms. They seem to be empty. Nothing seems to be particular about them, but when you enter the captain's quarters, you notice that there is a hatch in the captain's quarters that wasn't there before, and it seems to be open.
Oh, I don't like this.
I put my finger to my mouth, and then I'm gonna go sneak over there and look inside.
Okay. Roll me stealth.
15.
This is literally one of those saved by the modifiers. Or we'll see if it's saved by the modifiers. Okay. Alright, so you begin making your way down through the hatch, and as you walk through, you
I'm just
eventually.
looking down.
Oh, right, looking down. So you look down and you see what seems to be a brightly lit laboratory sort of area. There seems to be several metal spires, and you see one machine that looks very similar to the machine that was used to create the mystery dungeon on the clouds that you broke. And also, as you're looking down there, you see lightning seems to be grabbing some supplies from this laboratory that
I wave. Oh, keep going.
otherwise seems to be entirely empty.
I wave over the rest of the crew.
All right, Reniel will approach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll go too.
Let's just go in there, not be hostile, but just prepare to. This is Reniel thought speak, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sergey's still a bit far behind, just given, the armor.
All right, just don't be hostile, but just be prepared to respond if she does anything.
Reniel nods.
Yeah. I'm gonna slide down the ladder then.
Okay. Stealthily or normally?
Normally.
Okay. And are the rest of you following him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay. So you all slide down the ladder, and as soon as you do that, Lightning notices you. She sighs and she says, "Can't let loose ends off or anything or something like that."
You could say that. What are you doing here?
Clearing out the place. There's no use for it more anyways, so figured I'd take the stuff I left here and then figure out what, and then go back and tell go back and tell Black that the plan failed.
You understand we're gonna destroy that thing as soon as you leave.
Oh, yeah. Feel free.
Okay.
Do that, and you'll break open the path. You'll break open the Dawnsbury's mystery dungeon too.
Okay. Actually, yeah. Yeah. We're gonna break it.
Sure. Whatever you want. I'm not gonna stop you. Just let me get out of here first. I don't want to spend any more time in that world of yours than I have to.
Step out of the way.
I mean, actually out of here. Like, she summons a portal and she says, "That's what I mean. Let me get
Oh,
out of here, and then feel free to break the thing."
okay. What does she have on her? Is it just like papers or?
It looks like a combination of papers, but also food and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, she says, "Good luck with whatever the heck you're doing. Hopefully this is the last time we have to encounter each other." And she walks through the portal and it closes.
All right. We're not gonna break it. We're gonna bring someone here and show them proof of this. I don't say to her. I say to the party.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
Who will we bring?
I don't know. Anyone have any suggestions?
Two that occur to me the most are Estasis and that Septile, but I don't know if that's a good idea.
My worry about that is it might give them some ideas.
That's a very good point.
What if we bring it up? Because nobody knows about this right now. So what if we tell them there's a way to get rid of the mystery dungeon on Dawnsbury? That will also solve the refugee problem.
Hmm. That still raises the question of who to tell.
What if we just tell them we're going to solve it?
We go out, we tell them about it, we come back and destroy it.
Exactly.
That might work. I don't have any better suggestions.
What about Raven?
As much as he's on our side, he's on our side. He's still part of one of these organizations, and
He has his own agenda.
exactly.
Then why do we not simply destroy it and then tell them we took care of it?
Well, if we tell them we're going to do it, then, they won't think we're lying.
It seems inefficient to me, but very well.
Because, well, that's the way they play things.
They could
We just have,
simply pass off whatever we say as coincidence.
yeah. So yeah, we'll just go back down there, tell that collection we know the source of the mystery dungeon. And, just because we don't have a plan now doesn't mean a conversation can't, something can't blossom from that. So yeah, we should just probably go down there and see what happens.
Renial will comply with this plan.
All right.
What about sending just Renyal? And then he can use sending to tell us after he's informed everyone else and we can destroy it while we're still here.
That works, but we should probably send Sergey with him too, because at this point in the game, I don't think going alone by yourself probably a wise idea.
After the earlier conversation, we've certainly got targets on the backs.
And especially Renial, there's apparently 2 assassins after him.
Right.
Well, if Renyol's looking ready to leave, Sergey will follow him.
Okay.
Yeah, Renial's going.
Well, probably just to get out of the mystery dungeon, we'll probably just kind of wait by the entrance.
Okay. So you all walk out to the shimmering portal, and yeah, walking out of it takes you outside of the mystery dungeon. Seemed that part of the story was accurate as well.
All right. We will go find this regiment of individuals who are currently discussing things. Estes, the leader, the Freelance Guild, all those guys.
Okay.
Are they
So,
still within like line of sight from the mystery dungeon around Dawnsbury?
yeah, they would still probably be close enough that they'd be able to see the mystery dungeon from Dawnsbury. They haven't. They're in the refugee camp, which is just right next to
Okay.
Dawnsbury. So.
Would just your telepathic thing reach here? Because it's miles, right?
It's minutes. Hang on. I've got it right here. Telepathic speech. Telepathic connection is bonus within 30 feet of you. You can speak telepathically. Okay, yeah, but it only lasts for 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we'll probably just do the sending plan then.
Yeah.
Maybe we can wait just outside the entrance to make sure sending doesn't get interrupted by the whole between planes of existence thing.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go outside.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we'll do. So Sergey and I'll head over to everyone.
Okay. So you walk back to Dawnsbury, or well, the refugee camp outside of Dawnsbury. You see basically the same thing. There's a bit of packing up. There's a bit of work and talks and stuff like that. But you're eventually directed to the tent where the peace talks are, and you head over to this larger tent with a large table in it, and you see Estesis, and you did actually get the Septile's name from her, Bryn.
Okay, spell that please.
Bryn.
Okay. Reniel's going to enter the tent nonchalantly and say,
I apologize if I am interrupting anything.
You suddenly have all eyes on you. Estesis clearly does not want to be dealing with you anymore. So she's just sort of looking away, but Thornton actually is the one who says, Reniel, do you need something? We are in the middle of something here. To which
My
Raven
group,
responds, let him speak.
we have located the source of the mystery dungeon, and we are about to shut it down.
You hear several voices all at once go, the source?
Yes,
I... The Estessa says it is a mystery dungeon. They do not have sources.
if everyone would be willing to step outside for a moment.
Given our earlier mentions of ultra beasts and how they want to turn this whole continent into a mystery dungeon, well, we've seen one before that's actually similar to what's happening now, and you'll want to see this.
They all sort of look at each other, and they all begin to make their way outside for a bit.
all right. Reniel stands in front of them all, and his whiskers start floating weightlessly as he casts sending to Eugene and says,
Shut it down.
Okay. I nod that Reniel cannot see. And I tell Harold that I say he gave us the green light, if that even exists in this world.
Technically it
And
wouldn't, but oh well.
we'll go back inside and dismantle the machine.
Okay. Any fun ways you're dismantling it?
I guess I'll use produced flame because I don't really use that ever.
Is there
There's no-
like a panel or something I can open up, like wires I can unhook?
There probably is, but you're not familiar enough with stuff like this to be able to effectively do anything like that without potentially making it explode in your face.
Ironically, this would be something Renniel could do.
Or do you
Well,
have
but
any proficiency in tinker tools or anything like that, Harold?
Yes. Oh,
I have Jack of all trades, so I am half proficient in Tinker's tools.
I'm not gonna count that, sorry. Well, alright, so I guess we'll go with the Eugene plan of melting it. Alright, Eugene, it takes a bit, but eventually you melt this device, cause it to short circuit, and explode. And as it explodes, a bright light appears all around you guys, and when your vision comes to again, you're standing in the captain's quarters, only it's now fully furnished how you guys left it, and the hatch is no longer there. And if you were to look outside, you'd see all the furniture, the walls, stuff like that is back in place, and it appears the mystery dungeon is gone.
It just occurred to me it would have been really bad if somehow it didn't put us back out of that chamber when it disappeared.
Yeah. Well, we dealt with this last time when we were in the clouds.
Yes, back with Renniel and crew. You see the haze sort of become less opaque and less opaque until suddenly it fades entirely and the town looks normal. Some of the destruction appears to be actually left over, but otherwise, the town itself appears to be normal. And the hyper-realistic horses are also no longer there. As this happens, everyone's sort of just looking slack-jawed and wide-eyed. And Estes looks to you and says, "How in the world did this happen?"
Some sort of machine.
That does not entirely properly answer the question.
I am aware. The intricacies of how it works are slightly beyond my understanding.
Bryn says, well, point is, the town looks like it's seen better days, but it's freed now, so more than likely rebuilding will need to take place, but at least these Pokemon won't have to move anymore. You all have done quite a great service. Estesta sort of sighs and says, "Let's go back to the peace talks." Are you gonna interrupt them as they go back?
no.
Nope.
Okay.
I guess Harold and I are probably making our way back to the town as well.
Alright. So yeah, as you begin making your way back, you see now with the town cleared, everyone's still packing up, but they're not packing up to move away. They're instead packing up and sort of heading back into town and try and see which of their houses are still up and try and go back to normal. And as they're doing that, a lot of the Pokemon around seem to be they seem to sort of be shrugging because they came here to help. They came here to help refugees escape, and now they're no longer doing that. So a lot of
I mean,
them.
it's not as though there isn't work that still needs to be done.
Yeah, we have like a marketplace that Ren you'll set on fire.
Yeah, a few of them are staying behind to sort of help with the town, though a vast majority of them seem to be getting cleared, and they seem to be going back to their respective spot to either to the north or south and heading back to their respective homes as well. And since Radio started a marketplace on fire, you hear off in the distance something about cabbages.
I knew it was coming.
But yeah, it seems the town needs some rebuilding, but things seem to be going all fine, and eventually the peace talks come to a head. You see both Estesis and Bryn seem to both look to each other, both nod, and it seems most everyone who isn't sticking around to help set up the town are heading on their respective ways. You could tell neither are very happy with how the situation has come about, but it seems progress has happened. Though you don't know the details of the progress yet, and at least those two don't seem like they're interested in chatting with you. Though, sticking behind, you see Thornton himself is heading down to the south with the rest of I'll not sugarcoat it, the members, possibly former members of the Purge, but you see at the very least sticking around is Aurora and Raven.
All right, well, let's ask them and find out how things went.
I tell Harold, do you not want to do anything regarding Thornton?
I really want to, I really do, but
Just look at it this way: it's like, will we ever have an opportunity like this again? To do what I'm saying is, if you're willing to give up this chance, it's probably not going to happen. Something like this isn't going to happen again. I didn't mention him just because I feel it's more of your right to.
yeah, I'll see what he has to say, I guess. I'm gonna call after Thornton as he's leaving.
Okay, you call after him. You see the Sawsbuck stop his down southward travels. He turns back to you, approaches you, and says, "Ah, yes, Harold. What do you need?"
My brother, what happened to him?
He looks to you for a moment and he says, "Hope, yes. He got lost in a mystery dungeon and was never heard from again.
That
Was
you sent him to?
Excuse me?"
You know what happened? was digging too deep and he found out things he wasn't supposed to find out.
You're making quite a lot of accusations, you know.
What did you do to him?
You do know I was not bluffing, Thornton.
Thornton looks to you all, and he's, unlike Estesis's mask, is not even trying to he's not even trying to hide the fact that he's not he's pretty peeved at you guys. And he says, and what do you expect sorry, and what do you expect to accomplish right now?
Answers, obviously, is what Harold is looking for.
At least give him some sort of closure.
I could show you which mystery dungeon he was sent to, but I doubt you'll find any closure there. It's been far too long.
I'm not giving up.
I'll have you know we've done pretty good. We've done things that others have said exactly what you said. You'll get nothing, and, well, we got a lot of things. Like this, and I show him the badge. the star badge.
He sees that, and no, I'm not showing you Owlbear for a fight.
Yeah.
This would be a dumb battle. He once you all come in, he says, "Pull out your map." I keep giving him an accent when he doesn't have one. Pull out your map.
All right.
All right.
And he points to a location on the map and he says, "That's the mystery dungeon he was last seen in."
Where is it?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
How long ago?
when we sent you that, when you were sent that letter, he was missing for a week.
well, I think that's where we're going. Do we need any permission to go there, boss?
Rip off. He looks to you and says, "Do as you will. I don't have any inclination to stop you. But don't you have other things you should be doing right now?"
Well, I think it's like Reniel said, Harold probably needs closure.
Fine enough. He turns around and he begins walking away.
Do you want to go there, Harold?
Part of me really does, and a part of me really doesn't.
Afraid of what you'll find. Or
He nods.
won't.
Personally, I think you'll be regretting it if we don't go.
It was so hard keeping a level head during all of that, knowing that people responsible for all of this were right there.
But part of me only wonders if these peace talks won't even get anywhere.
They probably won't, but it's worth a try.
I just wondered if more direct accusations would have been better.
Well, then it might have erupted into war. Right then and there. You have to keep your cards close to your chest sometimes. There will be a time when we do it, but I don't think right there was that time. I just have the feeling emotions would have gotten out of control, and I think once Fliffle's dealt with, then we try to patch things up, because he's going to try and disrupt anything we do.
You eventually hear, well, if it means anything, it's certainly going to be hard to start anything for quite a while. And you see Raven and Aurora have approached you guys. Sorry for interrupting, by the way.
It is fine.
What makes you say that?
I don't know if it was a bluff or what, but they're both concerned about their reputations. They know that you guys know. So, good news is, while they're still trying to save face, they're probably not gonna try anything for now. Can't exactly continue their activities if you guys could expose them and turn a bunch of people against them all at once.
Yeah, that makes me worried when they'll try to make us conveniently disappear.
That was what I was about to say next. Bad news is you probably got a bunch of targets on your head.
Honestly, that was to be expected after what happened.
They are aware that I am fully willing to kill them in self-defense, aren't they?
I imagine so, yeah.
Very well. They will die.
Yeah, if they do, that's their own problems.
Well, in that case, Raven, if something happens to us, I want you to have these, and I pull out the document and the uh the star-shaped badge that I got it with.
He takes them and looks at them for a moment, his eyes wide, and he says, How the heck did you get these?
I snuck into her office and stole them.
Aurora says, Her? Her who?
Your mother.
She sort of stands there frozen for a moment. Haha, ice type.
I'm also I wanted to tell you this over the few weeks, but I was going to transfer that document into Thieves' Cant on a separate parchment.
Oh, okay.
If I,
I'll say you've already done that if you were planning on doing that.
yeah,
You've had plenty of downtime to do something like
yeah,
that, so sure.
yeah.
He has this lengthy document about tax returns and
Yeah. Taxes.
But yeah, Raven looks at it and says, "Trusting something like this to me, huh?
Well,
Gotta,
if
got-
something happens to us, it's kind of no choice.
I suppose.
need somebody with a good reputation to present it if that's what it came down to.
Alright. I'll keep it close. And don't worry about us, so to speak. Right now, at least, I've told everyone to stand by. We don't want Fluffle ruining our whole thing either. We want a better Lanwell, not one of his mystery dungeon random creations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he stores it away, and he says, any case, old Thorny's off, down south with them. $5 says they're gonna be busy trying to figure out exactly what they're gonna be doing, so I guess for a while I'm gonna be charged over in Misty Gales. So, like,
Would you have enough time to come with us on one mission?
a mission?
We found out where Hope is, and we're going to find him. One way or the other.
Not far
He
from here.
he looks to you guys and he says, well, I technically don't, but damn if I'm gonna let Hope slip away from me again. I'm coming with you.
Renniel's going to look at Aurora and say, "You are free to come as well. I am sure you want some answers."
She seems to break out of her sort of stunned state for a moment. Looks to you and says, where are you going?
There's
Southwest.
the mystery dungeon to the southeast of here.
Southwest.
Harold's brother was last seen there, and we are going to try to find him.
And you can look at that document that I just gave Raven, but you're not gonna like what you see there.
I guess I'll follow you there, but I'd rather not go into the mystery dungeon. I'll wait outside.
Fair enough.
I've had enough fights to the death for now.
How I long for the day when I'll have the luxury of saying the same thing.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
That's not what I mean at all. I'm sorry if it came across that way.
Alright. So, we're gonna head over then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You all, begin.
I hate to sound selfish too, but did we get any rewards for saving the town?
Well, you see, I did plan for that, but you're also not going anywhere near a guild building.
Put it on our tab.
So, yes, you will get rewards, but you'll have to wait to stop by at a guild first.
If we didn't get blacklisted.
Oh, we just gotta be fast about this is all.
They're gonna have to pay the guys that ruined all of their plans.
We'll make them do it in pennies too, in coffee.
Yes.
Yes, they pay your entire bill in copper. Oh my god. All right. But anyways, you guys begin making your way south. By this point in time, it's late afternoon, so by the time you reach sort of the lakeside, it's gonna be evening.
All right, so that's an apple.
Yeah. Riven seems to have brought his own food, and Aurora's gonna have her own food as well, so you don't have to worry about them.
Okay.
And are you gonna camp out at the water? You eventually reach the water shores. Are you gonna camp out at the water shore for the night, or dive in at night?
I don't think we should be exploring it at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set up the tent, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll go to sleep and do it
Set
tomorrow.
up the Eldritch tent.
Yeah, just for old time's sake, we'll just set up the tent.
Yeah, you guys have been using the spell for so long that you haven't set up the Eldritch tent in a while. Okay, so you guys begin setting up the tent, and it seems this time there are 3 of those tent posts that are at a place, despite the tent being fully up.
Yeah, I just kind of stick them in the ground and try to make it look like it's part of the complete thing.
Raven looks at this and he's like, "What? Why is the tent up when those are like that?"
Oh, sometimes there's only one missing.
I am waiting for
There's
the day that we get an entire extra canvas.
Yeah.
I gave you guys a normal tent. What did you do with it?
We didn't do anything. It's been like this.
probably been through too many mystery dungeons.
Yeah. I mean, it seems pretty sturdy as I shake it.
Yeah, it seems sturdy. Alright, if you say so. Anyways, unless you guys don't want to, you don't have to worry about watches for tonight. I'll keep an eye on the place.
You sure about this?
You can ask those guys. I did it when I was first traveling with them from Whitetown to Misty Gales.
Is that part of you know?
Half and half. I used to be able to decently do it just fine, but you know what, sort of enhanced it. And just so we're clear, just in case, I'm not going to be using you know what too often when we're down there. Don't want to
Probably
risk
for the
anything.
best.
What'd you say?
Probably for the best.
Aura looks at between you guys and says, "What? No what?"
I'm just gonna give her a look that says, "You don't want to know." Just kind of like this wide-eyed look, shaking my head slightly.
Aura sort of shrugs, nods, and says, "Alright, probably for the best." So, Raven sort of opens the tent flap and says, "Get a good rest, you guys. You'll need it for tomorrow."
All right. We rest.
Alright. Does anybody want to chat with either of the 2 NPCs, or is it just rest?
I'm probably just resting.
Anything else to say? I don't think that I don't have anything else to say.
I guess at the very least, go on.
I would maybe discuss with Raven if he happens to know anything about this particular dungeon.
Okay. Raven says, well, there are a couple of things. First off, it's at the bottom of the lake, but once we get to the dungeon, you don't have to actually worry about breathing. It'll, the dungeon seems to automatically let you breathe. So we'll still have to get to the bottom of the lake first, but at the very least, once we're there, breathing's no longer an issue.
And are the others going to have difficulty fighting in there?
No, it's not. We'll be basically like standing on it with like water all around us. It's kind of weird. Water dungeons are like that. Though there might be pools of deeper water, and if there's any fights in those pools, then the others are going to struggle just a bit. Otherwise, in terms of like any major gimmicks or anything like that, I can't say I know exactly, but if this dungeon didn't hope, he was pretty good fighter, so we're gonna want to be on our toes.
I have a few things I can try to hopefully snap him out of it if he's been lost.
Yeah, I hope you do. I'd hate to be fighting him, frankly.
If that has happened, and if nothing I try works, if we can get him out of the dungeon somehow, there might actually be hope of him recovering.
Well, I can tell you at least this. Lucky you're traveling with someone who's technically part of CILS.
What do you mean?
I know how they get the pharaohs out of the dungeon.
I see.
It'll, I hope you're okay with it. It will require sorta using one of the crystals to take control of him temporarily, but I can get him out if you can't snap him out.
At the end of the day, the crystals are tools.
Alright.
If they can help him, then they can help him.
Alright. Just wanted to make sure you're alright with that. But,
Thanks to Renul, we have a large supply of them on hand, if that's what it comes down to.
yeah.
Renewal off in the distance brings out each of his tentacles, each of them holding like 3 or 4 fragments.
Raven looks into the tent, sees that, he's like, oh, honestly, I thought you guys, if you ran into those, would have just left them somewhere.
We've actually gone to great lengths to not leave them lying around.
Eh, fair enough. They're just shards, but I think I could still work with them. Hey, can you give me about 3 or 4 of those?
No, they are mine.
Renul, this is important.
You could have them.
He comes out of the tent and just gives you he gives you 5 of them.
Thanks. He could have them back once we're done with them.
If you need them stuck back together, I can do it.
Yeah. I will need them stuck. I'll need them back together to make a full crystal.
I'm gonna go ahead and use mending to repair them.
Okay, this will take a bit because of let me check the spell, but I'm pretty sure this will take a bit.
It takes a minute to cast.
Yeah. But you will still be able to get a full rest afterwards.
Right. I mean, it was like late afternoon, so it's not like we arrived at midnight or anything.
Yeah. Okay. So you begin working, fixing it, and once
I'm
it's
actually going to leave the last shard not reattached until tomorrow morning.
okay. He looks at that and he says, you know it needs the entire thing, right?
And these things are dangerous. If something happens to us in the middle of the night, I'd rather somebody not be able to get their hands on one of these completely intact.
Okay, on one hand, I want to say I'll be able to keep an eye on things well enough, but on the other, I can't deny that logic with the target on your heads. Alright, I'll have to do the magic tomorrow morning then to make it work. Either way, get some rest. You're gonna need all the energy you have, physically and emotionally, tomorrow.
I'm sure I will.
Okay.
I should be fine emotionally.
And Harold's not going to go into the tent quite yet. He's going to kind of go off to the side, and he's going to pull out his little pan flute. Technically, the pipes of haunting, but he's using it as an ordinary pan flute. And he's starts playing a song on them.
Oh,
I'll practice that for a bit before he goes into the tent to retire for the night.
okay. Alright. You go into the tent, you all get your rest, and,
Reniel is
Actually,
still outside the tent.
oh.
oh, yeah, I just thought of something to do too.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. What do you guys want to do?
I
You
was
want to go first or Reniel?
I was gonna go to Aurora.
Okay, well that's where Reniel's going. We'll go together.
Okay, so we just awkwardly see each other.
Okay, you guys walk over to Aurora. She seems to be sort of in the far back corner of the tent. And she looks up to both of you and says, "Oh, hey, should you guys be getting some sleep soon?"
Oh, I was, but uh, well, a lot of things happened today, and I was just wondering how you were doing.
She...
I'm sure
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Reniel was just gonna say,
I'm sure you want answers.
Aurora sort of looks to the floor and she says, "She is their leader, isn't she?"
Reniel nods.
Of course, Mom is. Of course she is.
Well, yeah, I'm not really good at comforting people, but well, my parents are too. I guess they're awful too.
Don't know if I'd say that's comfort as much, but
But I mean, just because they are, doesn't mean we have to be.
despite everything and despite how I feel, there was a small part of me that hoped maybe something would happen and she'd accept me without any caveats or without all of her expectations or anything like that. Just accept me as a family member instead of an heir. But I guess it never was that to her.
Well, I don't think I don't think it matters really. I mean, you've proven you're a good person outside of whatever we're- you're gonna inherit from her. You don't need anything from her. You did a good job at Dawnsbury and
No, I didn't.
no, you did. Did you know that the only reason we were able to save those Pokemon at the last stretch was because you put up that fog? And your mother might not be appreciative of you, but I'm sure the Pokemon we saved are.
The fog didn't last long, though.
It didn't need to last long. It gave us the opening to, well, it, like I wouldn't even say it was just you. It was a team effort. I kind of impersonated that Gardevoir. They couldn't see me, and they thought I was her, and they came back. The only reason they couldn't see me was because he put up that fog. And then Sergey, he did quite a number on her, and like what I'm saying is, it was a team effort. You were a cog in the machine, like I think everyone else was there.
Reniel said the
Yeah.
same thing last time he talked with me.
Yeah, I think it's the truth. And if you take one of those cogs out, then it's not going to work, and it all falls apart.
She continues looking down for a moment, but she eventually looks up and says, "Are you gonna eventually fight Mysticis?"
I don't think we're going to bring a fight to her. No, that's not the way you fight someone like this.
I would not put it outside of the realms of possibility, though.
Well, whatever happens, do what you need to do to take her down.
That is a very brave thing of you to say, Aurora.
I'm technically disinherited, so it's not like what happens to her matters anymore.
That's kind of another reason I came here. I don't know how safe do you feel being around us, knowing that well, they probably want us out of the way, and if you're seen with us, then
I'll probably go back to my normal guild work once we return to the guild. But beyond that, I knew I needed to come here. If I didn't, I'd be asking myself so many questions when I go back.
When you do go back, stay close to Raven. I am afraid that Thornton is not trustworthy either.
He's with them too, huh?
Vernal nods again.
How deep does this go?
Quite deep indeed.
most everyone we've met, really, except those island dwellers.
Well, that's a scary thought.
Well, on the bright side, this is actually an advantage. If they are focused on us, they won't be at each other's throats. They'll be at our throats.
And you're okay with that?
Yes.
You're a strange group, you know that?
I think we'll be okay.
I hope so. And I don't know what I can really do, but if you need me for anything, feel free to ask.
We will keep that in mind.
Yeah. Actually, there is one thing. There's something in the park at Steelport that Harold saw your mother go into. You know what that's about? She used that star-shaped badge to get inside.
She looks up to you for a moment. She says, "Exactly, no, but, well, if I were to guess, that's probably their base. Or at least one of them, maybe their main one too. Mom did used to go to the park all the time, late at night.
Well, if you can get us more information about that place, that would be helpful.
I can try.
Hmm.
It won't be easy without accepting Mom's inheritance, or without joining that group myself, but
Then it is not worth it.
I could try and think of some other ways maybe to figure it out.
Whatever you do, do not put yourself in any danger.
Yeah.
I'll I won't.
Well, we're probably gonna head to bed and resolve what's in this dungeon tomorrow. Um, as I said, it might be it might be dangerous to stick around us, so just be careful.
I'll if I notice anybody suspicious, I'll run and hide.
Hmm.
I'll take care of myself, don't worry.
All right. Well, yeah. Good night.
Good night, you too.
Sleep well, Aurora.
I'll try to.
And Ringo's going to go off to his corner of the tent and
Yeah.
loaf.
I'll go to mine. Throw the blankets over.
Okay. And with that, we will end it off.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Join us next time when these guys do some underwater dungeon delving.
Backstory stuff.
Yeah, backstory stuff.
Story stuff.
You get to learn about hope.
All right. See y'all then. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.